By the rivers of Babylon, Ezekiel witnesses the glory of God for the first time. Radiant light descends from the heavens, and for creatures surround him, symbolizing God's presence. Ezekiel kneels in awe. Ezekiel tears down a crumbling wall, symbolizing Israel's sins. This scene foretells the coming judgment on Jerusalem. Ezekiel eats a small portion of food, symbolizing the suffering and famine that Jerusalem will endure. The ruined city looms in the background under a dark sky. Ezekiel delivers his message of judgment before the people of Israel. The crowd shows varied emotions of fear, defiance, and reflection. Ezekiel witnesses the vision of dry bones coming to life and forming an army, symbolizing the revival and restoration of Israel. Ezekiel stands in awe before the newly restored temple, as bright light symbolizes God's presence filling the temple. Water flows from the temple and grows into a mighty river, bringing life wherever it goes, symbolizing God's blessing and Israel's restoration. Ezekiel gazes over the restored land of Israel, with each tribe's portion of land flourishing in peace and prosperity. God's hand descends from the sky, symbolically judging the nations of Ammon, Moab, and Egypt. Their cities and monuments crumble under divine judgment. God's glory descends upon the temple, filling it with radiant light as Ezekiel watches in reverence. Ezekiel gazes upon the New Jerusalem, bathed in radiant light, symbolizing Israel's ultimate restoration and the fulfillment of God's promises. The name Yahweh Shammah shines brightly on the walls of the New Jerusalem, symbolizing God's presence and peace. Ezekiel delivers his final warning to Israel with his hand outstretched, as the people respond with mixed emotions. Ezekiel delivers God's promise of a new heart and spirit to the people, who bow their heads in gratitude. The dry bones are covered with flesh and rise to form an army, symbolizing the restoration and rebuilding of Israel. Ezekiel gazes upon the beautifully designed new temple. Water flows from the temple and becomes a river, bringing life wherever it goes, symbolizing God's blessing. The promised new shepherd leads Israel, with the sheep and people following behind, symbolizing leadership and guidance. God protects Israel from their enemies as divine light descends from the heavens, stopping the approaching armies. Ezekiel watches over the restored Israel, where the people live in peace and harmony, symbolizing the fulfillment of God's promises.